All right. Some of the people in the call webinar, if you do not know who we are a Microsoft Gold partner. Work on two major cloud aspects of Microsoft. That is the Microsoft 365 and Azure, and our entire services revolve around DevOps as well as the app modernization. That could be writing .NET code all the way to mobile apps to low code, no code, Power Platform. In that space, we help customers migrate from on-prem to cloud, both content as well as applications. And we help customers end to end, all the way from solution architecture, envisioning, training, migrations, and managed support services on entire Office 65, Microsoft 365 space, as well as anything to do with Azure. We have done hundreds of these migrations, both just migrating terabytes of data. At the same time, customers have got hundreds, if not thousands of applications on-prem SharePoint, or it could be info platforms, workflows. They want to go to the cloud, to Power BI, Power Automate, Power Apps, and all of that stuff. So it's combining end-to-end services we offer the customer. In that journey, always, we get asked by the customers, okay, when do I use Teams? When do I use Outlook? What is Yammer? When do I use SharePoint? And how do I control these objects in the Microsoft 365? Okay, so my quick question here, please just type in the chat window. First question, how many years of Microsoft 365 or Office 365 you've been using? Okay, just type, 1 to 3, 3 to 5, 5 to 7, something like that in the chat, please. Gives me some perspective. While you're doing that, so let's take this this wheel here I call loop. Okay. In the Microsoft 365, when you are, say, we already rolled it out, we enabled it, and you want to pay attention to three kinds of major patterns in here. Okay. One is inner loop. That means me regularly working with people. It could be my team, my project. That's one kind of a loop, right? You're always. That's generally you want to be using Teams. That is where the Microsoft 365 service that really aligns well there. The other one is Yammer. The Yammer is the one that really allows you for engaging across the organization. Hey, you have a question, your hobbies, you want to inform people and engage employees, each other. It's kind of more engagement platform. It's kind of enterprise Facebook / Instagram or something like that, where you really want people creating their own group hobbies. The other one is Outlook. Is of course a very important one. Is emails, very targeted communication. You use that to maintain your calendar for the day, invite people for meetings and stuff. So very targeted communication is very important for communication. Could be internal organization to outside organization. So if you take entire collaboration, that's where in Microsoft 365 comes in this what I call a loop. Okay, at the center of it, whenever you're communicating, sometimes you're chatting, whatnot, you have SharePoint at the center. So to maintain the files, anything that you exchange files, want to email files, store files, co-author files, that's where SharePoint comes in the picture, the center of it. So it is very important to understand this, the service collaboration services patterns. And when people say, I've worked with my group very closely, they need a private space, they need meetings, audio, video. When they chat with each other, they want person chat, and they want shared files, notebooks, task management, and sharing the calendar. So this is really, we have done this use case analysis across large enterprises, right? We talk to sales team. I have done these stakeholder interviews, like hundreds of them across large organizations. I talked HR, finance, sales, and operations team. All of those falls into these patterns, okay? And then we map out which tool is the right tool for them. And most of the times, it is something to do with teams or something to do with groups you create. And the reason I say teams to start with, because that really connects everybody for better collaboration, at least on the people you work with regularly, but also interacting with some parts of an outside your organization. However, to really understand all of these Teams, Outlook, Yammer, there is a core security underneath it. What is that that's feeding it? That's why, a lot of people started, oh yeah, we turned on Teams. Oh, we turned on SharePoint. Yeah, we turned on, of course, emails and stuff. But seldom they talk about there's this groups concept, okay? The concept of groups. So before we jump into the groups a little bit, let's talk about this. Even though, today, when a user is given a license in Microsoft 365, they get there's multiple licensing from Microsoft. There's E1, E3, E5, there's the F1, there is the academics licenses, A1 to A5, and all of the stuff. They all have Teams at the core of it, emails at the core of it, SharePoint at the core of it. But regardless of it, to give you perspective, these are all the services that are available in a Microsoft 365. There is a nice website out there called jumpto365.com. They really create this nice table. Thanks to them, I use this slide a lot to explain people how these services are categorized. When you really rolling it out and communicating internally, whenever you give a license to users in Microsoft 365, you get most of these or some of these based on E1, E3, E5. But to our context here, the governance, collaboration, most of the teams, and how it works in architecture, we need to understand at the end of the day, which service you want to use. The security behind these is tightly integrated with something called Microsoft 365 groups. Okay. So for relevant here, I'm going to highlight the services, I'm going to talk for the next, 30, 40 minutes here in terms of how these are connected to the groups. Okay.